So welcome back to episode 4 of the Sporting Ace Football Show. Today, I'm thankfully joined by Luke Craigie, who is a very good old friend of mine from football. Welcome, Luke.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a long time coming. You asked me a week ago, and because of my scheduling, it's been rough, but I'm thankful to be here. Thank you for having me.
That's all right. So for those that don't know Luke, there might be some that, if we do share this post out to our social medias, quite a few people from the footballing scene will know Luke Craigie. Luke, do you want to talk a little bit about your background in football, from like sort of when you just sort of started, and then as to whereabouts you are up now, and then we'll sort of delve into that.
All right. So I started football very young, about 6 years old, and so I've been playing ever since 6 years old. Really, I was at West Ham Academy at the age of 9. Just training, not really part of the academy, so to say, but just training with the goalkeepers there. Then about 11, 12 years old, I was at Dagenham Redbridge when they had their academy. Obviously now, I'm not sure if they still have one, but because they dropped out of the Football League when I was around that age, it did disappear after a while. But yeah, after that academy, I just played EJA level, Eastern Junior Alliance. I was at Barking side, stayed with the same coach. And then my last year was at Witham. I was at Witham for a year, just as a backup, because we had problems. Because I joined Aveley, we moved to Aveley, and then we folded just before the season started. So I had to move to Witham as a backup. And then after that, I was at Sudbury with Callum and probably some others that might be listening. I was there for 2 years. And and so my last year, I was in the States last year for Louisiana Christian University. Very, very Christian school. I was out there for a year. And we'll go into it where how well it went and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much my footballing career.
Yeah, so I think the best thing to start off with is your involvement in your academy. So for West Ham, you did say that you weren't really involved in the matches, but more so the training. And with the training, you can sort of perfect your techniques and sort of build yourself into a better goalkeeper than what your younger years has shown. So how was your time at West Ham?
Well, it was so at 9 years old, I just started being a goalie. Must have been about a year and a half. I was playing the goalkeeper, and then I think it was my manager at the time, or my dad was like at West Ham, like talking. They want to take you over for some training. I was like, wow, like West Ham, my favourite team, boyhood club. So yeah, it was like a massive like wow to me. So when my first training session, like the nerves were there. And obviously I weren't, like my age, it was like they've all been goalies for years, and like just me, I was like very raw. And you could see, like, compared to me and the academy goalies at the time, I was like, I remember I couldn't dive on my right side. That was a massive thing. I could dive on my left perfectly, but my right side was a shocker. I just wouldn't dive there. And it was but for being there for a year was a massive thing for me. I think it changed me massively. I was able to do things that I felt like if I weren't there, I wouldn't be able to do at all. And obviously there was ups and downs to it because I was a young kid, and I was a very immature young kid. But there was times where I almost got asked to not come back and stuff like that. I'm not happy with the behaviour I was showing. So it was like that was a obstacle in the way. But it was a great experience for me, and I feel like at a young age to have that sort of experience at like a club like West Ham Academy was could say life changing. To be fair, it was especially at that age, it grew my I wouldn't say stock, but like it grew my game massively at the time.
That's it's a very good building block. So I can only imagine that West Ham would have been in the Premier League at the time. I don't
believe they
know
were.
based off the top of my head, but they definitely would have been in the Championship at least, but more so the Prem. But after West Ham, you sort of developed your footballing ability and your coaching techniques for your goalkeeping ability via Dagenham and Redbridge. And I take it that'd probably be one of your local academies at the time.
It was pretty much like almost around the corner. Like Dagenham Redbridge is the local team to me. It's literally like 10-minute walk, maybe 15 minutes. It was interesting. So I was still training at West Ham at the time, and I think there was like, I don't know if it was the academy was starting up or it was just a day where they had like loads of trialists come in. I remember having a game. I can't remember where, but yeah, I had a game, like trialist game. I remember like doing really well in that game, obviously, and getting a phone call. I think my dad or someone got a phone call saying Dagenham want to sign you for their academy, and I was still training at West Ham at the time, so I had to choose. So it was like I either keep training at West Ham, probably not have a chance of getting into their academy, because I think there was like 3 keepers my age or 2 keepers my age that were there, or go Dagenham. You're going to play pretty much every week, try get that game experience in, and you're playing other academies, so you're playing players who are decent, like your level, maybe even better. So I remember playing some academies that were just a bit were a massive experience to me, and especially at that age, I must have been 10, 11. Like being able to play these academies and even like going on tours. I remember going on tours at Holland and Belgium the 2 years, like playing like Belgium academies and Dutch academies. It was like, well, what an experience, especially for 11, 12-year-old or 10-year-old, wherever I was. And wouldn't change it. Hopefully, I was hoping it ended better than it did, but them 2-3 years of my life were like probably unbelievable. Probably my best years of my footballing career. Like just like academy, like sort of wise, and just development wise, like they were the best 3 years of my life. Probably developing to become the goalkeeper I am today. I'm grateful for it. Very grateful for it.
Yeah, and I can only imagine that based off of my school experiences, if you were involved in a footballing academy, you were part of the popular kids. Now, I can't really speak for everybody because I played for my local Sunday team up until I was 16. But if you were decent at football, you'd be widely recognised, and it'd do wonders for your confidence. You'd sort of, I don't know, it'd sort of fill a void that others might have of potential friends. It sort of being a part of an academy or an academic football team will probably help you in the long run for, friends, knowing a lot of people, and maybe even getting onto other clubs if other things aren't successful.
Yeah, especially school did help a bit. I was the kid that was in the academy, I guess. Let's just say for my school team, I was the first name on the team sheet. Let's just say that. But yeah, like especially at those like I was primary school. I remember one day I got to leave early for school because we were going on tour. I remember leaving the school Thursday, Friday one week. Yeah, I was like laughing at everyone. I was like telling everyone like I'm missing school Friday to go like I think it was Holland at the time, and it was like especially those younger years. I was a very loud kid, and I was able to make a lot of friends during my football time, especially locally, especially at Dagenham. I mean, I've especially some players at Dagenham. I've seen like I've played against them. I've seen some of them because they were quite local to me, and like we don't really chat like casually now. But when we're at the games, like playing against each other, we would have a chat, say how we're getting on and stuff like that. So it was especially school life. It was quite fun. That was looking over everyone, you could say. Being at number 2 was an experience I've never felt before at the time. So try and fight for that number 1 spot was a massive experience that I felt like hopefully tried to carry through in my later on, try and fight for games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
more of like a combat mentality.
Yeah, combat
like
mentality.
You're not giving it up.
I used to be so. I mean, I'm still laid back, but I used to be so laid back. Like I thought no one could take my space and stuff like that. And like even when someone would come in, but I just didn't think there was not to be like big headed at the time. But I was like, they're not going to take my spot. Like they're just here to just train. But when I was that second choice, I was like, I have to put everything in training and games and stuff like. Before training, I used to just joke it off I wouldn't try and training, and I don't know if it affected me or whatever, but I just wouldn't try and training, and it was just. But that year, I remember always working hard in training, always working hard in games, always doing this and that, and I feel like that training mentality has helped me on in my later career, like from 16 to now. It used to be awful training, and then after I feel like I've improved so much in like the training aspect. Like what you put in a training, you can get out of games, and I feel like I've definitely seen that throughout my career.
It's a mentality that lasts all throughout any type of job that you do, whatever you do, whatever you put into something, you get out of it. It's very simple. If you don't put the effort in, results don't show, and it's as easy as that. And for footballers, if you're not putting in the extra hours outside of training, or you're not trying to show your devotion to your team, your club, or to yourself, you're not going to do yourself any good at all.
Yeah, but I feel like because what you just said there, like putting hours like outside of training stuff, like when I was like that 13, 14, maybe even younger, I just wouldn't do that, and I feel like it affected me a lot in my later career, because like mentally, like to do something outside of training, it's like it's not a thing that I do. It's like I'm forcing myself to do it. Where if I did that before, I feel like just come to me naturally. I feel like I could be
you sort of
10 times better player.
To go even further.
That's the one regret I have. Is just my mental state to like outside of just training and games, just like doing stuff outside can just improve me so much, and then that's the only regret I really have throughout my career so far.
Yeah, well, they always say live with no regrets, and by the sounds of it, you wouldn't change much at all with how your youth football was set up. However, building on to when both me and you first met at Sudbury, those were very good times. I remember when Craigie would find his football boots lobbed up onto the vent, his stuff put in the shower with it turned on. I
was on a punching bag.
No,
I'm joking.
But it was, for me, it was good times because I was also the brunt of a lot of jokes.
Yeah, it's just banter.
It was never sort of bullying. It was sort of like I hope for you it never felt like bullying. For me, it never felt like bullying. Like I'd sort of experienced bullying at secondary school. I just sort of learned to take it as more of a joke than anything. And for me, I wish that I had better prepared myself for when I did go into the Sudbury Academy, so that I had better opportunities, because I missed out on things like the FA Youth Cup, playing Border League with like some of your decent pals around the building. But it was a good setup to be a part of, weren't it, at Sudbury Academy?
Yeah, it was the best setup like out there, because so after the Whittam, I was like looking like, what do I do? And so there was some options, and obviously Sudbury was one of them. I remember playing a trial game against Colchester with some of the trialists, and I remember playing really, really well. think we drew 3-3 against Colchester. I mean, high scoring game, but it was pretty decent. And I remember literally straight after the game, I don't know if it was Craig or Danny, literally was like, oh, we're interested in you. Like, can we have a meeting, sort something out? And like, do you want to come for next season? Like, joining the program. And obviously, like looking at the facilities, especially for a team like Sudbury, is like a lower league team like Sudbury, is very good facilities, and it's I thought it was a great opportunity to like try and show myself for the 2 years.
And at Sudbury, it's got fantastic pathways into not only their first team football there, but as well as that, they've got plenty of alumni going on into different parts of the world. You've got players like yourself, Craigie, who have played in the States. There's some still out there now. There's some have come back. We've got professional footballers coming through the academy. We've got people like myself who are sort of at the bottom of the barrel of football at the moment, but I'm still looking to push on. And we've also sort of got the in-between where you got step 5, step 2, step 3. And it's the training that we received at Sudbury, sort of like the mentality and sort of how to handle yourself that has built us as people, built us as footballers. And as well as that, we came away with an education, which was part of the main thing for us to get onto our uni courses.
Yeah, I barely got out with an education, but I still got it in the end. But yeah, I was like, just because I lived like so far away, it was like, and the travel and everything like that. It was a lot. It was very draining by the end of it, especially 4 times a day. The way we trained 2 hours and constantly do it, then the work after, or the work before, and the training after, and it was like constantly draining on me. But I feel like it was experience that I'm probably never going to forget. So I was given some opportunities. I wished I got a little bit more while I was there.
It's very hard in an academy setup when you've just got one age group, and for that the teams did span over both the Essex and Suffolk Border League and the Thurlow Nunn. I'll always hold Sudbury in such high stead because they're a very well run club, and the academy set up there with the coaches that they've got are excellent. But
yeah, you see a lot of
like anything
Sudbury,
where you've got so many players involved, there are going to be people that sort of fall out of it. But for you yourself, you did have maybe like 1 or 2 opportunities with the first team, and you took those pretty well, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I played 45 minutes. I think it was a Velocity Cup game against Bury. So I mean, it's a local rival game up there. The fans definitely gave it to me for like 45 minutes. So I used to remember those sports glasses?
Yeah, like proper goggles.
Yeah, couldn't get contacts in, so I had to wear those. And let's say I got abused for 45 minutes wearing those. So, but yeah,
I mean, like Edgar Davids for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, but like just being around the first team. Like I remember I played 45 minutes, but like I was on the bench like for FA Trophy. Was it FA Trophy they were in, or FA Vars, something like that?
Might have been, yeah. They've definitely been involved in a few cup runs very recently.
Yeah, I think it was FA Trophy because I remember going Kingstonian away one game, and we went Worthing away.
Yeah,
when we beat Worthing 4-1. I remember just being involved in. Like,
I remember that game.
Yeah, just being involved, like just being there and just being on the bench and like being around these players was a massive like experience to have, especially in those cup games. Obviously, if Goldie got injured, then would have been a massive step up.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, if it did happen, you had to take the chance both hands. But obviously, it was just a massive experience that hopefully I get to play in those sort of cup competitions at some stage.
As a footballer, as any type of athlete that you are, you have to evolve and adapt. And for you at 18, you decided to make the switch like certain other players to America. And it's a completely different lifestyle as to what I take it, because their type of college sports is slightly different to the way that we do things here in England. Our academy set up at Sudbury. We had, like, we'd be in on Monday, be training. Tuesday evening, we'd probably have a game. Wednesday would be college football. Thursday would be midweek, Thurlow under 18s. Friday, you might have a midweek game for Essex and Suffolk Board League, or Thurlow none. Saturdays was always game day. Sunday, for me, I'd have to work, but it'd be sort of like your chill day, and you do that all again. It's a very full-on 6 days worth of football experience. But how did you adapt to the change that had come in America for you in Louisiana?
So yeah, it was a massive change, because obviously, like, just moving there was a massive change. Like, just an environment, and like just everything, like the weather was a massive part. Like, when I first got there, it hit 40 degrees one day. We had to train in it, and let's just say it wasn't a fun hour and a half it was. But yeah, I mean, just the overall feeling was just different, because from the team to like the environment. So the team, there was only me and 2 other British lads, and the rest were either Spanish, South American. I think we had a couple Costa Ricans. I mean, that's South America, but yeah. So it's like you're talking to people that first language is not English, and like and it's like quite hard to communicate at first. Because I remember we had one player that just couldn't speak a word of English, really.
Yeah,
would really struggle. So obviously, when you're playing with that player, it's got to be hard, because obviously you got some of the players that would talk to each other in native tongue, but where
the language barriers would definitely
the language
something
barrier
that was deceptive and
especially
impactful for your football.
Yeah, because when I play, it's like I'm a very talkative. I'm quite loud in game, so
yeah,
I might be saying some things that they've never heard before, or they don't know what that means, and it's like there was a lot of very getting used to, especially in that side. And I think just the overall, especially the college as well, it was a very small college. It was like smaller than some high schools there. It was like 1,500 students. It was like a Christian private college. So already, I'm not a very religious man. So it was a massive, like, had to go chapel every week, and had to do some sort of religious studies. Yeah, I remember my last semester, I had to do New Testament, 8 o'clock in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And obviously waking up at 8 is already rough, but doing New Testament it wasn't a fun experience.
You're gonna have to have a couple of decent cups of coffee down you to sort of devour the Bible there.
I would wake up 5 minutes before my lesson and just go there. Like, it was like I was there to do exercise science.
Yeah,
and like, obviously we would do that major class. We obviously do the exercise science, but I was doing lessons that were just useless to me.
Yeah,
and like plus the football I had to do as well. That was like everyday training. So I think we had weekends off, or sometimes we'd do a Saturday. So it was like I had to do homework for these lessons that I didn't care about, or I had to do tests for these lessons I didn't care about, plus the football that I had to do, which was like 2-hour session, an hour and a half, whatever it was. And then we had to sort out food for ourselves. I had to go sort out shopping for everything as well, especially how far everything was to the college. It was like you had to ask someone for a ride, or you had to do this, you had to do that, and there was always an
Yeah.
obstacle in the way. And yeah, it was a massive like shock to me, like the way I had to like sort everything out at one time, pretty much, because I didn't really have a rest. There won't be a rest. Like even in the weekends, we wouldn't have football, but obviously there'd be homework you had to do, like a massive essay or some 2-page thing for like music appreciation that I had to do, like some like stuff that I really didn't want to do. So it's like that's the one thing I don't know if it's different, because obviously I haven't been uni yet here. I don't know if that's the same as the state. Hopefully not. Hopefully you don't have to do New Testament at 8 o'clock in the morning. But
no, especially not in Lincoln, I don't think.
No, yeah, thank God. Obviously, especially like how small the college was and how people were, like people that are going out to the States right now, they might get the full college experience. Like obviously football's there, but obviously you want to party and stuff like that. Like, you're not just going out to the States unless you're to play football. You're going out there to enjoy it. So when I was at this Christian private school, it's like you weren't allowed to drink at the college, you weren't allowed this, you weren't allowed that, you weren't allowed to. So boys and girls were separated as well. You weren't allowed to talk to the go to the girls. What's it called?
Campus.
Yeah, like dormitory.
Dorms, yeah.
Until like 10, I think it was 10 or 12 o'clock. And you was only allowed in the reception bit, like the bottom floor. You weren't allowed in the rooms or anything. So it's like how do you even have fun? Like you don't have fun. You just stay in your room, sharing a room with some guy you've never met before.
If other players, they're going to experience different opportunities to yourself, because as a goalkeeper, you're limited to just one position. It's not possible for you to play outfield unless like you're both decent in goal and out. But it's like if you're a centre mid, you can drop in at centre half, you can play left mid, right mid, play the number 10 role. If you're an outfield player, you've got so many more opportunities as a goalkeeper, and you've got less responsibility as such to screw up. If you screw up as a goalkeeper, it can really have detrimental effect on you. And the way that the coach handled laying into you is not the right thing, because as a professional, that shouldn't happen. I mean, if you're being thumped 3-0 at half time, then that's fair enough. But if you're doing something that you're supposed to be doing and the way that it's worked out hasn't happened, there's nothing that could be done. It's poor management.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I would have, if he spoke to me before and said, "Luke, like, this is the reasons why I'm not, like, I'm dropping you for this game or whatever," I probably would have taken it a lot better, because he would have spoke to me and explained what I'm doing wrong. Because if he said what I'm doing wrong, I can improve on that.
Exactly.
But he's just completely just thrown me out without even my acknowledgement. I only knew from the other goalkeeper. Like I might have showed up to training that day without knowing a thing, and the coach would be like, "Luke, you're not in the first team anymore. You're not training with the first team this week." I would have been fuming. I would have lost my head. So it's like, it's annoying. It is what it is. I wish it worked out a bit more than it did, but I guess I feel like it hasn't ruined me. It hasn't ruined my career, but hopefully I can throw that behind me and try and push on and try and at least play at a decent level. Hopefully at uni, like just even playing, like I don't care what level it really is. Hopefully it's like a decent level, but any level to just play a game. Like